Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Dear brothers and dear sisters, a person's life is like an outstretched rope, and they actually don't know when this rope is going to be cut. And this rope is actually divided into three stages. There are three stages in this rope of life. The past, we have the present, and then we have the future. You know, sometimes when we start looking to our past, we have good memories and bad memories, and mostly those are the bad memories that we are unhappy about and we regret about those memories. You know, the despairings and the grievings that we get from the past, you know, because of those, some of the time we get a little discouraged and low spirit. Those past actually sometimes do not let us advance in our present and then ultimately in the future. And then sometimes people get worried about their future as well. The future is uncertain, the future is unseen, And because of their sometimes shaky past, they are thinking that, well, what might happen to us in the future? And that is a human nature. Both of them are out of our reach, brothers. Past is, as we know, past, we cannot do anything about that. And future is uncertain and not yet, here. It's unseen. The original, the actual reality that we are living in it right now is in fact the future, that we have some kind of control over it. We are aware that this future is something that we can do something about for our future. And if we did something that we are not proud of in our past, again, this future will become handy in asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. Or maybe if we have taken some bad decisions, this present is going to help us avoid in the future such mistakes. So again, the present is something that we need to look forward to it. And these disparities and calamities in the past sometimes make it difficult in our decision making in the present, which ultimately is going to affect our future. And dear brothers and sisters, we need to understand that as long as we live in this world, our matters are already destined, and we are not free from the calamities of this world. In people's life, there will always be ups and downs, and because of those ups and downs, these dangers and hazards, our hearts are going to be worried, and people are going to be frightened. And that is actually my topic today. Because of those hazards and problems, we create a kind of anxiety. And Islam is aware of the fact that as a human being, we will develop anxieties and sorrows and fears regarding our future. And this anxiety is something that we need to address today. As we all know, this is a feeling that one experiences. It's a feeling, it's mostly a mental stage. It's not anything physical that we can tackle physically. This anxiety is something that displaces sadness, turmoil, and disparity within our lives. It not only affects our social life, it also sometimes causes our already stable life, and then we can sometimes lose hope and optimism. When we actually get into some kind of anxieties, as a result, we could lose our sleep, and we actually does not enjoy the life in its true form. Things are unrelated now. Food is not as tasty as it used to be. And this anxiety actually makes people think as the day is going to be staying for, forever. When is this night coming? And sometimes the nights get longer, and we are waiting for the day to follow it. This anxiety is something that 1 minute of your life looks like as if it's a complete hour. People loses their black hair. Their hair becomes grayer because of those problems. And what it does is, unfortunately, it distracts the mind and then occupies the thoughts. And then the things that we were supposed to be thinking about positively, because of those thoughts, we have now started thinking, and this sadness and sorrow started occupying our minds. We are not productive anymore as much as we would have wanted to be. So, besides those decision-making powers that this could take, the vastness that we need to have in our mind and the openness that we need to have in our mind for new things to learn, for Quran to take place in our hearts and our minds, it does not happen. Because the mind is already preoccupied, with those sorrows and doubts that we have in our minds. And remember, brothers and sisters, that sometimes it's not necessary that a person needs to be poor or in a difficult condition who will going to feel the anxiety the most. Yes, they might have a disadvantage in some cases, but even if people who live in luxurious villas and beautiful homes, they have a lot of money, they have wealth, they have everything that this dunya could offer, their chest still feels, tight, and they struggle as if they have to do something big, as if the entire sky is coming down on their heart, to the point that sometimes they lose their health. It's really difficult. From the outside, we might see that, oh, that person must be very happy, because I can see that he has a good house, he has a nice car, he's well dressed. The immediate thing that comes in our mind is that the person might be happy. That is not necessarily true. The struggle that he may be going through in his mind might be a lot bigger than what we can imagine about. So that is why we need to understand this. And then a big position, if I am in a bigger position, I might have a lot of power in my position holding, but then the power comes, responsibility with it. The power carries the responsibility with it, and the more I have the power, the more responsibility, the more anxiety I have to execute the power that I have. So it's not easy for everybody, for anybody. We have all sorts of worries that is coming our way. Sometimes the worries might be good, but it is still worries and it is still affecting our lives. As a parent, you might be aware that every minute is passing by, you are thinking about your child. What is going to happen to my child? How is his or her education going to advance? What is something that I can do to make the life easy for them? Is my son going to masjid? Is my son learning Quran the way I want him to learn? So even if these are something good that we need to be happy about, that we have this in our back of our mind, it is still something that could sometimes take the decision power, the good decision power making. So we need to understand this, that no one is free from some kind of worry and sadness. It is just the nature of humanity. However, brothers and sisters, the proportion of happiness and sadness in the heart is actually linked with the amount of iman and guidance in our hearts. The more we have, the more iman we have, the more guidance we have, the more happiness will we achieve, inshallah. It is okay, you will have a lot of sorrows and worries in your mind, but when you have iman in defense of that, despite all those problems, deep down you will be in sukoon. Deep down you will be fine. Everything that is coming towards you, you will understand that it is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most, the strongest the iman is, the easiest it is going to cause you. So when one's iman is in Allah and they believe in Him, and then guess what? They put trust in Him, and they do tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Something has passed, that's okay. I am going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, and I'll try not to repeat those. And then something is happening right now, because we have trust and tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are going to ask His help to ease up those problems from us. And then again, if we are not sure about something in the future, again, who is going to come to our help? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So having the iman in our life, having the thought of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the all-powerful, all-sustainable sustainer, He is going to help us in all our problems, whether they are in the present or whether they are going to come in our future. And this actually increases the iman more, and then increases the certainty. So the more problems comes to you, the stronger the iman gets, and actually eases up the problems and eases up the mind of a mu'min, because he has this trust and tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a result, not only their body, their soul becomes stable and calm. Their heart is actually at peace, and they feel more comfortable and happy. This is something that honestly nobody is able to describe. This is something you have to experience it to believe it in. When you have actually thought about something and it calmed your mind, calmed your heart, you can understand what I am talking about. Sometimes from outside it may appear that the people have difficult life. They are deprived from some of the ni'mas. There are calamities and there are problems in their life that's happening. There are problems that's hitting one after another to certain people. But guess what? When they have the iman in their heart, from outside, it might appear to you that he is in difficult conditions, but that's not necessary. Who knows? They might be at peace in their heart, and sometimes, as I told earlier, vice versa, the other way around. They might look happy. They might be all good in their life, but their heart might not be at peace. They might have all sorts of problems that you cannot even imagine about that. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. When you have problems, or when you actually have at peace, when you are actually at peace, it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It goes back to the level of iman that you have. It goes back to the level of trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It goes back to the level of tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then it goes back to the level of good deeds that you are performing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Nahl, من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة وَلَنَجْزِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْرَهُمْ بِأَحْسَنِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life. This has been the answer, clear cut. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further says, we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do. So the best that you have imagined about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give even better. And that is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those again who go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put their trust and tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Despite all the problems that they might have witnessed, all the problems that they are in them right now, or about the anxiety about in their future for something, either one thing or a lot of stuff that's happening in their life. And again, brothers and sisters, here are the tricks. As I just mentioned, the trick is in following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best way. Following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best way that He is to be followed. And then doing good deeds, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the lives, and those lives will be without any sorrows and despair. Another trick, my brothers and sisters, that is to have patience. When we are in a problem, there is nothing more close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than doing sabr on those problems. Because what happens is, when people have some kind of tests in their life, the first thing that they started making complaints. Although it's okay to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, I have this problem, please help me, in any way that is allowed. But then the problem with that is people start saying words that could cause them even more. Not only with their problems, but with their sins. They are sinning because of some of the words. They started complaining in a ways that's unheard of. Oh Allah, you just see me? This is happening only to me? I have did this and this and this, and you are doing this to me? And then sometimes if they are not talking directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they start uttering the words, bad words in front of other people. So not only they are making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry, they are finding for them witnesses who will going to be witness against them on the day of judgment. That yes, I heard them saying this and this. We have a lot of people around us that when asked what is happening in life, and they will start, oh, life is not fair with me. I'm having these issues. I'm having this and that issues. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. So having patience and sabr and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is another way, is another trick that we can avoid some of the problems, or as a result the anxieties and the sorrows and the state of mind that we are in. And another trick, my brothers and sisters, is, as I actually told you, ask Him for easing up the problems. Get in touch with Him. We rarely go and specifically stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and discuss our problems with Him the way it is allowed, the way it has been permitted. When was the last time we had this problem and we woke up 2 a.m. in the morning and we read 2 rakat salat and we asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, I have this problem. Please help me solve this. Think about that. When was the last time we did that? Sometimes we don't even realize that not asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the reason that we have this staging. The prayer, the salah that we do, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and the next thing is, musalla is folded and we are out and about. So, sitting after your prayers, reading a few verses of praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then raising your hand to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually another way to get rid of a lot of our problems. We have actually forgot to ask about our problems from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So bring the prayers, the supplications, the du'as in your life, and then share your problems with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way it is allowed. Without saying bad words, without complaining unnecessary. That's okay. Mentioning it to Him a lot of times, it's okay. He actually likes it. So the next thing, as I said, is bring prayers and du'as. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one, brothers, who will remove any turmoil and any problems that we have. First and foremost, He knows what's happening in our lives. He knows of everything that we are, the current state that we are in right now. So why not, if He already knows, He's just waiting for us to ask Him about it. So why not just ask Him? So, tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having patience for the problems that we have been placed in, and then not making unnecessary complaints and uttering bad words, and then asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the tricks. And the next trick, I guess, is sometimes considered a little difficult, because we might think, nothing has happened to us yet. But that is going to actually help you, is being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though the problem that you are in right now is not yet lifted, is still pending with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we can be thankful for all the other hundreds of thousands of stuff that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us. So if there is one problem that it is not being solved, which we sometimes don't realize actually that it could be in our favor, it could be the best of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. Sometimes you think of problems and you think that is bad for you. but sometimes it is good for you. You are just not aware about that. And sometimes you consider things that are good for you, but they might be bad for you. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing. So being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, despite the fact that your problems might still be there, is okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets happy with His servants being thankfulness. And who knows, maybe the du'as actually did not help you. Maybe being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to help you. Maybe saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thank you so much. And even though your problems are still there, maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears that and maybe He says, okay, let's solve that problem for him. So being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is another trick that we can use to lift the anxieties and sorrows and problems in our lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran regarding this, وَقَالُوا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي أَذْهَبَ عَنَّا الْحَزَنَ إِنَّ رَبَّنَا لَغَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ. And they will say, praise to Allah who has removed from us all sorrows. Indeed, our Lord is forgiving and appreciative. These are actually the words of people when they get into Jannah. They will say these words, and this actually indicates that griefs or a portion of it will actually kept falling on the people. So even when people get to Jannah, they will remember of the sorrows and the problems that they had in their lives. So this indicates that this life is going to be, one way or another, small or big, we will always be behind one of the problems. So I guess the sabr portion, the sabr element in the trick that I mentioned is really important that we need to understand. This life has been considered and full of some problems. This life, this space is actually not made for complete happiness. The complete happiness is only coming in the Jannah, inshallah. So we need to understand this fact that one way or another we might be tested with the anxieties and sorrows and problems. Dear brothers and sisters, we will also be mistaken if we are thinking that anxiety is only restricted to the needy and poor. I mentioned that earlier briefly. The reality is that wealthy people have worries just as there are for needy people. The style is different. The level is different. The method is different. Sometimes the poor are struggling because of an empty stomach. And sometimes wealthy people are struggling because of an overfilled stomach. So both of them have the same problem basically. And that is what I'm trying to say, that it could be to anybody. It could come to anyone. If there is a good person who is standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, he could be tested with something. Or if there is some people who is away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be tested with something. So there is warning for both of them. And everybody needs to understand the stage that they are in. Whether I'm being tested for something that I did, or whether I'm being tested to find out how patient I am. So we need to understand the stage that we are in. And remember that this problems and having anxieties and sorrows in our lives, these are one of the tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are caused upon people to see what they do. The wealthy is tested with wealth, whether he is going to spend that wealth, and the poor is going to be tested whether he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and connects with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not, or whether he just complains about it unnecessarily. So both are being tested, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses for whatever, wherever and whoever He wants. And remember another thing, my brothers and sisters, that although these feelings are not physical, sometimes it has a stronger effect than physical harms. Even though it has been tested, medical science has tested that some of the problems, having problems in your mind actually could cause you physically as well. People lose weight. People stop decision making. They don't have good decision makings. And Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in one of his quotes, actually considered anxiety as one of the strongest soldiers and tests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dispatches it to whoever He wills of His servants to be tested with. So that is another thing to understand, that it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this could get to anybody. Brothers and sisters, remember that it is Allah, to whoever He wants will be guided, and it is Him alone that puts people in wrong path because of their short-sighted. It is not coming from anybody else, so do not blame other people if there is something bad happening in your life. A person might be the reason for some of the problems in your life. He might have caused something, but originally and truly it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is going to test you with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُ يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَّدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ كَذَلِكَ يَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Surah Al-An'am. So whoever Allah wants to guide, He expands his heart, his breast to contain Islam, and then whoever He wants to send astray, He makes his breast tight and constricted as though he was climbing into the sky. It feels to him as if he is going to climb to the sky. And thus does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is how He places tests upon those who do not believe. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر ورب رؤوف رحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Dear brothers and sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sitting in a gathering with his companions, and the hadith is actually narrated by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, ما أصاب أحدا قط هم ولا حزن فقال اللهم إني عبدك وابن عبدك وابن أمتك وفي قبضتك ناصيتي بيدك ماض فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك أسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلفك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو ألهمت عبادك أو استأثرت به في مكنون الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن ربيع قلبي إلا أذهب الله همه وحزنه وأبدل مكانه فرحا. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that when one person is afflicted with distress and sorrow and says, "O Allah, I am your servant and the son of your male servant and the son of your female servant. My forehead is in your hand." It means you have control over me. Your judgment upon me is assured, and your decree concerning me is just. I ask you by every name that you have named yourself with, revealed in your book, taught any one of your creation, or kept unto yourself in the knowledge of the unseen that is with you, to make the Quran the fountain of my heart and the light of my chest, and the banister of my sadness and the reliever of my distress. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove his distress and sorrow and replace it with relief. The hadith has been mentioned in Sahih al-Bani. The companions actually asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam when they heard this supplication from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, shall we not learn these words? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, yes, it is actually, he actually said, it is necessary for whoever hears them to learn them. And dear brothers and sisters, these are great words, and then I want all of you to make it necessary upon you to learn them. Beautiful du'as that is invoking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best of ways that we have witnessed. And then asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the problems. And then I ask all of you to strive in reciting these words when actually in anxiety and grief or glooms that we are witnessing right now. So هذا وصلوا وسلموا على نبيكم كما أمركم بذلك ربكم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت تبارك ربنا وتعالى. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما عاد به عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونسألك أن تجعل كل قضاء قضيته لنا خيرا. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اتل ما أوحي إليك من الكتاب وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا اعتدلوا قيموا صفوفكم وتراصوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء نحوا سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن